Imagine a world hidden beneath the restless waves of the ocean. Not a realm of myth, my friends, but a lost chapter in our planet's deep memory. A memory holding the untold stories of our earliest ancestors. Now, lean in closer. What if I told you that vital pieces of human history dating back 140,000 years are resurfacing? Not from dusty caves, oh no, but from the silent, crushing depths of the sea itself. It sounds like the beginning of an epic adventure, doesn't it? A saga of a world swallowed by time. And incredibly, it's all real. Welcome, fellow explorers, to Berkay Explores. Today, we journey to a place where the past breaks the surface. And believe me, we're not just scratching it, we're dredging the very abyss of time.
Absolutely. It's more than just intriguing, it's genuinely paradigm shifting. We're witnessing a confluence of new research and, frankly, astonishing fossil finds. We have new data, fresh reports landing on our desks, all detailing these incredible discoveries off the coast of Java in Indonesia. And that, everyone, is precisely where our exploration takes us today.
Exactly. So our quest today? It's simple, yet profound. To truly unpack these incredible findings, we want to piece together the fragmented picture of a Homo erectus population we barely knew existed in this context. And the world they inhabited? A world now, as you can imagine, completely submerged. An entire lost realm, swallowed by the rising seas. But, and here's where the true mystery begins, leaving behind tantalizing, almost ghostly clues for us to follow.
Right. Let's delve straight into the heart of it, because the discovery itself, how it all unfolded, is quite remarkable. This wasn't some meticulously planned archaeological expedition to the ocean floor, not by a long shot. The reality was far more serendipitous. It occurred during a massive construction project, didn't it? The building of an artificial island, right in the Madura Strait. That's the stretch of water between Java and Madura Island.
Precisely. And picture this, they were using these colossal dredgers, machines literally scooping up vast quantities of sediment from the seafloor. It's hard to even comprehend the scale. And all this material, tons upon tons of it, just unceremoniously dumped ashore. And buried deep within all that mud and sand, over 6,000 fossils. 6,000! Can you even begin to imagine sifting through that? It's a mind-boggling treasure trove unearthed from what's essentially construction debris.
It truly is. You're essentially getting an almost unparalleled snapshot of an entire ancient ecosystem. Tiny fish bones, the remains of massive mammals, everything. Absolutely incredible. But nestled within that vast collection were two small, unassuming fragments of the skull. And these, my friends, weren't just any fragments. No, they belonged to Homo erectus. And here's why this sends ripples through the scientific community. It is the very first time Homo erectus fossils have been definitively identified on the seabed between islands in Southeast Asia. So it fundamentally redraws the known boundaries of their world in a very significant way.
Yes, it completely shifts our understanding. It just shatters long-held theories about their range. We thought we had a grasp on their limits, and then suddenly, boom, they appear here. And there's such a powerful human story woven into this discovery too, isn't there? The tale of the researcher, Harold Bergheis. His dedication, it's simply extraordinary.
Utterly extraordinary. He devoted years, literally years, to meticulously sifting through all that dredged material, searching day after day for any sign, any faint trace of ancient human presence, just hoping, against the odds, to find something. And then, almost like a scene scripted for a dramatic film, on his very last scheduled day of searching that particular site?
You cannot be serious. On the absolute last day? That's the stuff of legends. You just can't make this up.
On that final day, he spotted the first H. erectus skull fragment. He mentioned recognizing its significance almost instantly, comparing it to reference photos of Neanderthal fossils he always carried. It just goes to show, history can surface when and where you least expect it. A powerful testament to perseverance and a keen eye, wouldn't you agree?
What an incredible moment that must have been, truly. And as you were saying, these fossils aren't just isolated curiosities found on the seafloor. Far from it. They are like signposts, pointing to an entire world that now lies lost beneath the waves. So guide us through it. What was this vanished world truly like?
To truly comprehend, we must journey back in time, approximately 140,000 years. During that epoch, a major ice age had vast quantities of Earth's water locked up in colossal glaciers. The direct consequence? Global sea levels were dramatically lower than they are today, so low in fact that immense land masses currently submerged were then exposed, vast plains of dry land. This created an enormous landmass, a vast continuous continental shelf. It connected places we now know as separate islands, Java, Sumatra, Borneo, Bali, all part of one contiguous territory. Imagine the scale of it.
And this incredible landmass has a name, doesn't it? Scientists call it Sundaland. And you really have to let your imagination roam here, explorers. Don't picture an ocean floor. Picture a sprawling lowland savanna environment, likely incredibly fertile, crisscrossed by life-giving rivers. This was the stage upon which Homo Erectus, the upright man, played out a significant chapter of their existence, a species that emerged around 2 million years ago, the first of our lineage to truly embody human-like body proportions, the first to boldly venture out of Africa, true ancient pioneers.
And the sheer number and remarkable variety of animal fossils unearthed alongside the Homo erectus remains, well, they offer us this breathtaking glimpse into that lost ecosystem. Based on the fossil evidence, it was an environment teeming with rich and diverse life. The rivers, for instance, were bustling. We're talking fish, turtles, the usual suspects perhaps, but also, and this is where it gets even more fascinating, freshwater river sharks and crocodiles.
Hold on a moment. Freshwater river sharks? Okay, that detail paints a vividly different picture of this lost world. Now you're really setting the scene. What about on land, the megafauna?
On land, the cast of characters was equally impressive. Elephants, certainly, and an even larger, now extinct relative called the stegodon. You can just imagine those giant stegodons roaming free. Also, water buffalo, rhinoceros, and, perhaps most surprisingly for many listeners, Komodo dragons.
Komodo dragons roaming that far afield? I generally picture them confined to just a few specific Indonesian islands today.
That's their current, much reduced range, yes, but 140,000 years ago, their territory was clearly much wider. They were an integral part of this Sundaland fauna. And the scientific sources suggest they weren't just passive inhabitants, they were likely significant predators across these ancient plains. So try to visualize it, everyone. Homo erectus living in proximity to these rich rivers, perhaps hunting, fishing, and sharing their world with elephants, giant stegodons, rhinos, those formidable river sharks, and apex predators like Komodo dragons. It truly sounds like a scene from another age, doesn't it? A world utterly lost to time.
Absolutely mind-altering to consider. And finding the H. erectus fossils right there in that context confirms it. They weren't just passing through this land, they were thriving there, making a life, using the resources. Those rivers would have been their lifeline, for water, for food. And speaking of food, I understand the analysis of some of the other animal bones discovered there yielded some truly intriguing clues, is that right?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. This is a pivotal part of the findings. Scientists identified clear, unambiguous cut marks from stone tools on many animal bones, and also specific telltale breakage patterns, especially on the bones of turtles and bovids, ancient relatives of cattle. This strongly suggests active processing. They were hunting, or at least acquiring these animals, systematically butchering them for meat, and then deliberately cracking open the bones, most likely to access the nutrient-rich marrow inside. These are undeniable signs of pretty sophisticated foraging and butchery techniques.
But here's the real twist in the tale, isn't there? The detail that truly challenges our previous assumptions. The finding that made researchers around the world sit up and take notice. What was it?
That's precisely the point. The detailed analysis revealed that these particular Homo erectus in Sundaland, they appear to have been specifically and consistently targeting prime-age, healthy adult bovids. Prime adults, not the vulnerable young or the old and infirm. Now, why is that specific detail so profoundly significant? Because successfully hunting prime adult animals, the strongest and potentially most dangerous individuals in a herd, is a complex, often perilous strategy. It implies a higher degree of planning, possibly sophisticated cooperation, and perhaps more advanced tool technology or hunting techniques than was typically attributed to Homo erectus, especially in this particular region of the world. This was a hunting pattern more commonly associated with later, so-called behaviorally modern human species, such as Neanderthals or Denisovans.
Wow. So we're talking about a level of sophistication akin to Neanderthals or Denisovans, groups often found much further north on the Asian mainland. So essentially, these Sundaland Homo erectus were demonstrating a hunting prowess we perhaps hadn't given them full credit for, which then naturally leads to the million-dollar question. How on earth did they develop such an advanced technique? Did they innovate it themselves down there in Sundaland? What's the prevailing theory?
Or, and this, I believe, is where the story takes an even more intriguing turn. Was there some form of interaction happening? That, indeed, is the central, tantalizing question that researchers are now intensely grappling with. Could there have been a cultural exchange, a transfer of knowledge, of skills, with other hominin groups present in the wider region, groups who already employed that specific strategy?
You mean it's possible they met, interacted, perhaps even sat around a primitive campfire and exchanged hunting tips? Is that the kind of scenario we're considering?
It's a distinct possibility that cannot be discounted. One of the scientific sources even cautiously raises the prospect of interbreeding between different hominin lineages in Southeast Asia during this period. We have evidence of such intermingling elsewhere between Neanderthals, Denisovans, and early Homo sapiens. And interbreeding, as we know, is certainly one very effective conduit for the spread of skills and ideas.
Okay, just let that sink in for a moment. The idea of different kinds of ancient humans meeting, perhaps influencing each other, maybe even interbreeding, all on this vast landmass that now lies deep beneath the ocean. That just adds so many incredible, complex layers to our understanding of human prehistory, doesn't it? It truly ignites the imagination. What other untold stories, what other interactions took place down there in that lost world that we haven't even begun to conceive of yet?
Unquestionably. And their ingenuity wasn't limited solely to stone tools for hunting either. The researchers also found some mussel shells exhibiting clear signs of being deliberately modified and used, perhaps as simple scraping or cutting implements. Potentially rudimentary tools, yes, but it hints at a resourcefulness extending beyond just the knapping of stones. And it connects, intriguingly perhaps, to other somewhat more enigmatic finds from Java dating to a similar period, such as those engraved shells also attributed to Homo erectus, suggesting just perhaps the early stirrings of symbolic thought, a cognitive leap beyond purely utilitarian survival-based concerns.
All right, let's pull back and look at the grand tapestry for a moment. Taking this astounding Sundaland discovery, what does it truly add to our broader understanding of Homo erectus and their significant place in the sweeping saga of human evolution?
Well, first and foremost, it powerfully underscores their incredible adaptability and their truly indomitable pioneering spirit. Homo erectus was, as many will know, a pivotal species in our lineage, the first to possess a body plan remarkably similar to our own. Taller, larger-bodied, with longer legs, perfectly built for efficient long-distance walking and running, and shorter arms. They also exhibited a significant expansion in brain size compared to their early hominin ancestors. And they were the great travelers, the original trailblazers, the very first human species to make that bold, momentous leap out of Africa and successfully colonize vast, diverse swaths of the Asian continent. This discovery places them firmly within the dynamic and incredibly complex Middle Pleistocene epoch.
Absolutely. Incredibly adaptable, incredibly mobile. True ancient explorers, much like the spirit we try to embody here. And this find definitively cements their presence deep in what became island Southeast Asia, around 140,000 years ago. That's a profoundly significant marker in time.
And it's worth remembering that Homo erectus survived on the island of Java for a remarkably long duration, isn't it? Persisting there much later than in many other parts of the world.
Yes, the very last known and reliably dated Homo erectus fossils from the Gandong site on Java are actually much more recent, falling somewhere in the time frame of 117 to 108,000 years ago. So this Sundaland population we're discussing today, they were living and thriving earlier than those final Javan survivors, in a vastly different, now vanished ecological setting. And they, in turn, likely disappeared from that landscape long before our own species, Homo sapiens, eventually made its presence known in that specific region of the world, much, much later.
So what you're essentially telling us is that these few precious skull fragments and all the associated animal bones, literally dredged up from the bottom of the sea, are granting us this completely unexpected high-resolution window. A direct portal into the daily life, the surprising geographical range, and the unexpectedly complex behaviors of Homo erectus, in a part of their world that has until now been completely hidden from our sight by the ocean. That's just truly awe-inspiring.
It genuinely is. It fundamentally redraws aspects of the map concerning their capabilities and the diverse environments they successfully exploited. And there's a profound, almost philosophical realization that accompanies this discovery, isn't there? The understanding that this vast, vibrant landscape, a homeland for our ancient relatives for untold generations, is simply gone, submerged beneath the waves.
Yeah, swallowed by the relentless, inexorable rise of the sea. And we're only now, centuries later, beginning to retrieve these precious fragments, these faint echoes of that lost world.
It's quite poignant, actually. It really highlights the sheer, unadulterated joy and the wonderfully unpredictable nature of scientific discovery, doesn't it? Finding these crucial pieces of the human puzzle in the most improbable of circumstances, like mixed in with construction debris from an artificial island. It's a fantastic, humbling reminder that so much of our shared human history is still out there buried, submerged, patiently waiting to be uncovered.
We sincerely hope this immersive journey into the secrets of sunken Sundaland has ignited your curiosity as much as it continues to fuel ours today. We ventured together from a chance discovery on the seabed to painting a vivid picture of a lost world roamed by stegodons and Komodo dragons, and pondered the sophisticated and frankly astonishing hunting strategies of Homo erectus.
Yes, and we absolutely cannot forget that mind-bending possibility of interactions, of connections, perhaps even kinship between different ancient human groups. It truly compels you to look at that entire period of prehistory with completely fresh, inquisitive eyes, doesn't it?
It most certainly does. And considering that submerged world, and this tantalizing idea of different ancient human groups potentially sharing skills, knowledge, maybe even genes, it leaves us all with a rather profound question, wouldn't you agree? Just how much more complex, how much more dynamic, and how much more richly interconnected was the social and cultural tapestry of our most ancient ancestors than we perhaps ever dared to imagine?
That, my friends, is a question that will undoubtedly keep researchers digging, or in this case, perhaps sifting through ancient seabed sediments for many, many generations to come. Well, explorers, that's all the time we have for today's incredible deep dive into the lost lands of sunken Sundaland. We sincerely hope this journey into the past sparked your imagination as much as it did ours today. If you want to join us on more adventures like this, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for Berkay Explores and absolutely smash that notification bell so you don't miss a single discovery. And hey, if you found this exploration fascinating, giving us a big thumbs up really helps other curious minds unearth these amazing stories.
And we genuinely want to hear your insights and theories on all of this. Please do drop a comment below. What part of this incredible Sundaland discovery truly blew your mind the most? Was it the sheer, improbable fact these remains were found underwater? The surprisingly advanced hunting techniques of Homo erectus? Or perhaps the sheer, breathtaking scale of those lost landmasses that once connected continents? Let us know. We'd be thrilled to read your perspectives and what you found most astonishing.
Until next time, folks, keep exploring, keep questioning, and we'll catch you on the next great adventure into the known and the profoundly unknown. Take care, everyone.